Hello, my name is Kyle Ward. I'm a dedicated professional, a lifelong learner, a proficient JavaScript developer, and thrive while being challenged. I have proven success under extreme pressure situations, overseeing the race timing operations of numerous national caliber events. I have 8 years of project management experience, from which I made many lifelong friendships, leading to a comprehensive list of exceptional letters of recommendation, all of which are available on my LinkedIn profile. My single largest career accomplishment involves the development of multiple APIs, for which I was the lone developer, building the products from the ground up to where they became a nationwide success within the endurance race timing industry. When I first learned about the Savvy Coder's Capstone requirements, I immediately knew what I was going to create. During my previous experience building the APIs, I began cultivating an idea centered around a platform for password management. My wife and I had only ever used a simple notepad on our phones for all of our password management needs. For each of us, it's becoming overwhelming, and quite frankly, it's becoming a chore to add new passwords, as well as to find what passwords we were looking for. My idea was to make life easier for not only us, but everyone needing a better way to manage and organize some of their most important information. And thus, PassLockr was born. Going into the creation of the SPA, or single page application, I wanted to keep the concept simple in order to not get lost in an unnecessarily overly complicated image. My approach was to keep it simple with the intention of highlighting my coding experience, skills, and expertise. I personally believe I have accomplished this task. As part of the cohort, we utilized a Miro board to help with the planning phase. You can see here, I initially thought I was going to build 5 separate pages, to where I'll highlight later that this was not the case. I was initially going to have a home page, a login page, a contact page, a library page, and a submit page. When defining my audience and demographics of who would be using the application, the simplistic nature of PassLockr enabled it to apply to a broad audience. Simply put, who will be using your application? Anyone looking for password organization. Through the initial SWOT analysis and research of other current companies, it was easy to see a few strengths I could offer where others might be lacking, but it was also brought to light a blurring weakness or threat associated with my product. Through mobile-first development, I could offer a more optimal user experience at a lower cost, aka free for now. Where I knew right away where I was going to fall short was in regards to the platform security. Platform security and user authentication through a login was outside of the scope of this cohort. Thus, all personal data is not secure, and this product is not available for use for the public. The only user currently is a test customer with fake platform passwords. Moving on to the user flow. The initial plan for the user flow was pretty simple. It consisted of a home page leading the user to a contact page, as well as a login page. Once the user was logged in, 2 new pages were to become available, that being the password library and submit a new password. While attending Savvy Coder's full stack web development cohort, we gained valuable experience working in an agile environment. We planned sprints, held daily scrum meetings, conducted backlog groomings, sprint reviews, sprint retrospectives, and sprint planning. All project data was done in Jira. I volunteered to be the acting product owner for the first 6 weeks, where I worked with our Scrum Master to lead the daily tasks. Now diving into my capstone. I had a lot of fun creating PassLockr and watching my vision come to life. I spent a lot of time fine-tuning a complete, comprehensive look, feel, and user experience, starting right off with the homepage. Upon arrival, the landing viewport takes up the full width as well as the full height. I wanted an effect that would act as an immediate attention grabber. This effect, coined as the Home Abstract JS, consists of 4 layers, but before I dive into the 4 layers, I want to show off a math.random function that picks the next color to display on the page. I offer 4 colors to choose from, a white, dark gray, and the 2 colors of the PassLockr logo, the maroon here and the blue. To create a consistent feel, I made sure that the first color that always loads is white, as shown here. Into the code. Const colors is an array of the 4 colors I just mentioned. The first steps that take place are making sure that the very first color, is set to white for a couple different layers before diving into this function restart here, which includes a set timeout function. Inside this set timeout, I'm toggling on and off a class which is called change color here. Inside there, picking the color from the array from random, which is math.floor, math.random, of the new color length. So in this case, the new color.length is 4, picking the index from essentially 0 to 3 to grab the color, then adding it to the color layer and the full color here before moving on. This new color equals colors.slice at 0. What I am doing is I am creating a duplicate array of the colors array so that I can edit it as necessary. New color.splice and new color.index of this color, comma 1. Essentially what I'm saying is I wanted to take the previous color that we just used, this color, find the index of it from within the original array of colors, and remove it from the new array, new color array. So this new array is now going to be length of 0 to 3 so that no duplication ever occurs. A new color at random will always be the next one to display on the screen. I have new color.length here where I could hard code in the length as 3. However, keeping it as .length allows me to keep the future development in mind. If I ever wanted to change const colors as the array of options that were sliding across the page, I could edit it, add them, delete them, do anything I needed to, and never have to worry about the code below. This homepage here, the 4 layers as mentioned. The first layer includes the button, the text, and the logo with a fully transparent background. The second layer is what you see that slides across the page here. It is a layer with slightly transparent background with changing position and width to create the animation. The third layer, as highlighted here, you can see this maroon tint is even more transparent to show off the color that is currently displayed, with the final layer being simply the logo in the background. As you scroll down, an on-scroll effect kicks in and launches a transition effect on my nav bar, as you can see here. The main piece I want to point out are the links that are available immediately. You have home, contact, and login. I'll dive back into that later. As you keep scrolling, I have 5 elements on the homepage that utilize a reusable function called onScrollEffect.js. This function receives 1 to 2 arguments with a default parameter if only one is passed. That is so I can, again, have you re-invoke this function anytime I need it with any set of criteria to match. This onScroll will show here with this getting started with the 3 easy steps, and then further below once you get past the testimonials. These testimonials were created by my wife and myself since there are no current users or purchasers of the product. So continuing on are the next elements which offer the on-scroll effect. More reviews, all of which 5 stars, of course. Game changer, love, 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 the best yet, can't beat free. Below all of this is my footer, which I wanted to keep simple, effective, and reusable across all pages on my platform. Next is the contact page. In the contact page, I have 4 elements which take up this show here on the page. All 4 elements, you can see 2 and a portion of 1, contain a mouse over and a mouse leave, as well as the same on-scroll effect I previously highlighted and showed off on the homepage. Mouse over shows a new div. Layering over top was previously there, offering a simple and very effective user experience. As you scroll down, you will see the on-scroll effect start to kick in with the items that were not in place. Seen right here in the final one to partner with us. You can see they all still have their own mouse over and mouse leave with the same footer at the bottom. I'll move on to my login page. There's a lot going on here. I don't know if you noticed right away, but I have an animation set to take place until a response is received from the API that I built. I'm going to try and show you this effect from my page that hosted on Netlify. Using render, we have seen the response time from the API through nobody's fault take within a second to sometimes close to 7 minutes. And I've noticed the first time I go to that page is generally when it takes the longest. So I purposely left my hosted platform unattended for this cause. On the login page, you can see here loading users is kicking into place. I'm not going to make us wait here, but this animation goes until a response is received from the API, which then in turn overwrites or renders the internal HTML to a fully functional button, where right now it does nothing. I'm going to reload this page to show how quick the response time takes with being locally hosted. So I built the API, and this is the first time I receive a response. I have two databases stored in MongoDB. The first one containing a set of user information, which is the users, their account info, and their password, which I can use here to log in. The second one contains all of their password information, which we'll get to on the next page. Using sign in, my only test user is myself, Kyle Ward, with a test password 78910. I'm going to quick copy and take one back to show that the validation does in fact work, and if it's not correct, you'll get a warning at the bottom. Putting it back in here, 78910. Upon submission, it immediately loads and takes you to a new page, library, which was not available before. When I previously brought up the nav buttons on the home page, it previously had home, contact, and login, where login has now been replaced. Essentially, that is no longer needed, so library takes its place instead. Keeping the consistent look and feel of the PassLockr platform, I kept the page very clean by building this lock out of pure CSS. It offers a very powerful and appealing look for the user. Upon view all, clicking the button, a simple transform translate Y shifts this top part of the lock, making it appear as it is opened, and closing it closes it back up. Moving to the view all, this is the second time a response was received from my API. And I'm going to dive into more information here. I built a powerful function called render passwords, which receives a response from the API, stores it in state, and then maps over everything right here. So render it param.map, which creates an entire block of HTML, which is then used to render it to the render.innerHTML and replace what was there. Inside here, it may look pretty short and condensed, but there's a lot going on. With having full control of it, I was able to add icons, on-clicks, and even pass on the index of places where I needed to add to the performance of the function in on-clicks. This render passwords is called 4 times within my platform. The first time being on view all, immediately renders the internal ID element with the list of passwords. With all those functions as mentioned, each of these passwords now have a hover over, which shows the password contained in it. Underneath it, it contains a pencil and a trash can, as the icons also previously mentioned. And it also offers the on-scroll effect, which was used multiple other times in the platform. So scrolling down, each password, once it loads onto the page, offers a very visual and appealing effect. I created all these passwords on my own, as again, they're all fake and not real. One of my favorite, sprint to the finish. Highlighting the edit button, you can see I can click the pencil, which automatically pops up a form allowing you to edit it in real time as however you need to. Once you edit it, you can click a check mark, which posts it to the platform. I'm going to show off the dev tools on the network. So when I edit the password, I have JS in the background checking to make sure that it's a new one. And if it is, a request is sent to MongoDB to post it on the platform. If it's not changed at all, and if it is identical, even clicking the check mark, no response is sent. So again, adding anything I need to, response is sent. You can also delete any password at any time. So take sprint to the finish, delete it, it's gone. If we scroll down, this is the second time where I'm using the render passwords function to replace inner HTML by dot mapping over everything that I have. You'll notice that sprint has been removed. I have add button here at the top, which allows you to add any platform with any password at any time. Keep it simple. I'm just going to add the one that I just deleted, sprint to the finish, click submit when you're done. This is the third time where I'm using the render passwords to render and change the internal HTML by dot mapping over a list of passwords I have. Scroll down and you'll see that sprint is now back into place. The fourth and final time where I'm rendering that function is with the filter here. It is not case sensitive, allowing me to filter anything that I want to. So say if I start typing A, rather than only having Amazon, Amazon is also included because it is not case sensitive. I can keep going and say Amazon to filter everything else out, remove it, and go back to sprint, and everything that matches this shows up. The final tool that I want to highlight on my product is when you go to add here, I wanted the ability to create a powerful password for the user without them having to come up with it on their own. This shuffle icon will create a random password, which I'm going to dive into the code before showing it off. Showing it off, generate strong password. JS is my function. So what I'm doing here is I'm making an array.from, array of 26. So there's 26 characters in the alphabet, and creating the character codes for each of them. Doing the same thing, number character codes, 10 numbers, dot mapping over this array of 10 empty items, and adding the character codes for those numbers to it. I wanted to do all for lowercase and uppercase, so I have lowercase here, .2 lowercase, uppercase, .2 uppercase, and then here simply taking the number array is the number character codes, dot mapping over it, and returning string.from character code of the element. So these three are three different arrays, lower array, upper array, and number array. Combining them together in a const picker by using a spread operator to add each one into the same array. So this array now consists of 26 times 2 for lower, upper, plus 10. So 62 different variations inside picker. Going into the const generated, I'm making a new array. I wanted to be 16 characters in length. It's an array of 16. Now mapping over each one and essentially calling a random function, so this function random password, to return any random character from the position of the picker array. So picker at random password puts you here. Math.floor, math.random of picker.length picks any position from there to return it, and then returns that generated password as a whole to the user. Shown visually in the platform here, you can click it. Here are 16 characters, all random, generated by PassLockr. I put a lot of time into this Capstone project, and I hope it shows off with the product that I have completed. Thank you for your time in watching this presentation.